I'm going to work on my gradations next. So I'm going to do a value gradation, a hue gradation, and an intensity gradation. So I want to pick those places, and there's going to be a lot of water there, so I definitely do not want to paint any two areas next to each other. You want to have enough space to work, so not one of these little tiny spaces, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the giant space either. So if I'm going to do, let's say I'll do the value gradation. I can't do this because I've just finished painting this and this is still wet. So I'm going to skip over to this spot. I'm going to write value gradation. I'm going to do a hue gradation. Let's see, I'll do that one here. And then an intensity gradation. So this will be wet, this will be wet. Whoops, apparently I have paint on my fingertip. So maybe I can, let's see, work back over here by the time I get to it. So hopefully this one will be dry enough. So I'm going to quickly just add a little water here and try to pick up that paint that I just accidentally got on my paper. I don't want to rub at the paper too much, but I'm rinsing it. I'm going to dry off my brush and just without rubbing, pick up that paint, dry it off. There we go. Okay, we're in good shape now. All right, so I'm going to still use that same color just so we can really see what the differences are as a color changes. So I'm going to go back to this blue color again, and I'm going to do a value gradation in here. So to make it flow a little bit easier, I'm just going to, again, start off by getting some water on the paper, not rubbing the paper a lot. I'm just gently putting a little water down. And now I'm going to switch over to my small brush. I'm going to grab a decent amount of pigment. I'm going to start at the bottom edge. You can see I was just naturally flowing into that water that's already there. It's really strong. And I'm going to start working that. I'm going to turn this way because I always find it easier to pull your paintbrush rather than pushing it. So now, if I follow this outline so I can control where the paint goes, I want to start to lighten it and weaken it. It's doing that a little bit on its own, but eventually, like blue's strong, so the blue is not going to continue to get weak enough to get to white. So you can see how now it's kind of looking the same in this whole section. So this was nice and strong, and now it's just looking, I'm trying to even that out. It's looking kind of like the same blue in this whole section. So I'm going to clean the paint off my brush, wipe off the extra water because I'm not looking to add any more water into here, and I'm going to pick up what paint is there, and I'm going to try to weakly bring that up here. I just want it to be light. So again, I'm going to clean off my brush, wipe off the extra. I'm even going to dry my brush a little bit this time because I can see that there's plenty of water up there. So now controlling that edge, not letting it spill wherever. Bringing that up there. If there's areas that I feel like are still too dark, like perhaps here, you can take your brush, which is kind of dried off, and pick up some of that paint. You can even pull it back down toward the stronger area. So now I have a value gradation that goes from pretty dark to light. And if you want it darker at the bottom, you can still do that. It's still wet. You can add that right in and get that to blend and flow a little bit. Maybe change directions on your brush strokes. Carry them across. There we go. All right, my hue gradation. What I want to do with this one is I want to change from one color on the color wheel to another color on the color wheel. So I could just go from blue to purple, or I could try to make my own purple by going from blue to red. I'm going to choose this red, the cool red, because it will naturally make a purple. Whereas if I do blue with the warm red, it's going to be a dull purple because this red actually has a little bit of yellow in it. It's basically the magenta with a little bit of yellow to make the red.